Arts are one of the unique methods of communication to articulate your ideas for dialogue, to articulate ideas around dissent, to articulate ideas that envision a reality beyond the reality that is in front of us so that we can continue to imagine the world that we want to live in.
L'art est un moyen de stimuler l'émancipation des peuples. L'art est vraiment l'espace qui déverrouille, qui débloque les choses, qui débloque la parole, qui débloque la capacité à être en liaison avec les autres, qui permet de vivre ouvertement. C'est le seul moyen de pouvoir avoir une société éclairée.
Arts can be very powerful in terms of how it can possibly change perception and what it can make people think about, which is something, that governments, I think, are acutely aware of.
The world is facing closing societies, shrinking of civic space, and restriction in access, in expression. Artistic freedom is essential for open society to flourish.
Art is a fundamental appreciation for the kind of society that we are trying to live in, that we're trying to build. When we find ourselves in challenging times, when we find ourselves facing the brutality of oppression, it is essential that we recognize the authenticity, the power, the credibility that artists have.
В определенный период времени наступил критический момент, когда мы с женой оказались неудобны для белорусской власти. На двоих было 5 уголовных кейсов и 2010 года. Поэтому у нас был вариант попытаться убежать, и мы смогли это сделать. У нас стало 2 дома. То есть это Беларусь и это Великобритания. Труппа находится в Беларуси, мы находимся в Великобритании. Я ставлю спектакли, и второй режиссер наш ставим спектакли по скайпу. И спектакли идут там, в эти моменты. Я воспринимал это как оплату за то, что я занимаюсь тем, чем хочу, при диктатуре.
I use my art to bring in the politics. For instance, I stand up in front of 300,000 people as a woman, and I start moving to music. I'm dancing. These 300,000 people have never seen a woman stand on stage in Pakistan and dance. So that itself is a political statement. So basically, I see our performances as resistance. And I want to build that resistance into our people. The idea is to make our audience think, to think that there are possibilities, there are alternatives to the kind of lives they're living.
En un país como Guatemala no podemos estar en silencio, no podemos permitirnos una vida sin expresarnos. Soy poeta, pero en un momento tenía tanta energía contenida por la situación en Guatemala, por el contexto en el que yo estaba creciendo, así que empiezo a trabajar con el cuerpo. Así que cuando encuentro el arte contemporáneo, encontré a través del performance la posibilidad de expresar emociones contenidas para poder resistir esta situación.
A lot of people find my work offensive sometimes. They see me as a foreign message or somebody that's trying to ruin our society and our traditions, and because I'm trying to say a different thing. This is what we do as cartoonists, and this is what we do as artists, is shake people out of their comfort zone. Sometimes when there's a lot of censorship, it creates a lot of creativity as well. And that's really what's happening in the Arab region now as a whole. Because, the tighter you get, we find alternative ways of saying it.
Art is more important than ever in this climate. Authoritarians are quite clear about the need to shut down artists and to defund artists. And so I think as people working for social justice and human rights, we need to also be clear of the power and agency that artists hold in the society so that we can actually create spaces for freedom of expression when the authoritarian governments are actually pushing for their silence.
We have more and more examples throughout the world of population who are choosing governments who are more populist and who are closing more and more barriers. It is very scary. It will be a very dark place. But we want people to be exposed to art because it opens your minds to other possibilities. And that's what's most important.